Roman Dmitry faces a transformed Graxar in their final clash, but the real threat emerges when the Orc Lord unleashes power from beyond this world. What happens when an entire race kneels before him, and he rejects their pleas? The fate of Arcadia hangs in the balance. The air on the battlefield thickened with tension as Roman and Graxar crossed blades. The collision sent a visible shockwave rippling outward, distorting the frozen atmosphere around them. Graxar couldn't match Roman's power. He was hurled backward, his massive body skidding across the ground, carving deep trenches in the ice and dirt. Roman remained unmoved, his stance solid amid the chaos. He told Graxar he needed to bring more to the fight if he wanted to see Roman's true strength unleashed. His words carried no anger, only the expectation of a warrior who demanded a worthy opponent. Graxar stared back, his face showing raw fear for the first time. A warlord who now realized he faced something beyond human. Roman pressed the attack without pause. Using heavenly demon steps, he closed the distance in a blur too fast for the eye to follow. The ground cracked beneath his feet from the sheer force. His sword swung with glowing intensity, surrounded by thick purple mana that enveloped Graxar completely, sealing off any escape. A massive explosion followed. When the dust settled, a deep crater marked the battlefield where Graxar had stood. Nothing remained of the Orc Lord. His body had been completely erased by the overwhelming power. The Orc warriors watched in stunned silence, the reality of their leader's annihilation sinking in. They knew surrender was their only option. The Orcs dropped their weapons, falling to their knees in waves. Hundreds of blades clattered against the frozen ground as they begged for mercy, swearing eternal loyalty to Dmitry if only their race could survive. They saw Roman as the one who had single-handedly turned the tide of war. Roman acknowledged they might have had their reasons for starting the conflict. The Orcs felt a brief glimmer of hope, thanking him profusely. But his expression hardened. He turned and stated clearly that from the moment they had made humans their food, Orcs and humans could never coexist. He had no personal grudge, but he would not leave behind a potential future threat. The Orcs' hope vanished as they understood their fate. Roman gave the order without hesitation, eliminate them all. His soldiers carried out the command efficiently. The battlefield filled with the sounds of execution rather than combat. Every Orc was systematically wiped out, fulfilling Roman's promise from the duel. With the Orcs annihilated, Roman entered the elven fortress. The structure blended living wood with elegant architecture, its arches rising like natural spires. Teresa, an elf with snow-white skin and pointed ears, greeted him with her delegation. She expressed deep gratitude, stating that without Roman's intervention, the elves would have been destroyed. Roman replied that their goals had simply aligned. He mentioned arranging a meeting after stabilizing Luna to address Arcadia's chaos. Teresa smiled and agreed, then asked if he would accompany them briefly into their territory. Her tone suggested important matters ahead. Roman consented without hesitation. Deep in the elven forest, they reached a massive tree, its trunk wider than a castle tower, leaves shimmering faintly. Teresa explained that when the Orcs first attacked, they consulted the World Tree's wisdom and glimpsed fragments of the future. This was why they defended it so fiercely. It served as both home and oracle. The prophecy foretold a human would aid them in their darkest hour. Then Graxar appeared with unnatural power, a dangerous force that shook reality itself. Teresa requested Roman meet the Mother Elf to discuss this corruption further. Roman agreed, intrigued by the source of Graxar's strength. Inside elven territory, Roman noted how elves typically retained youthful appearances until death. He expected the Mother Elf to match this, but she appeared elderly, wrinkled face, frost-white hair. She greeted him warmly, her frail voice carrying deep authority. She asked if he knew of the demon realm. Roman confirmed the world's structure: heavenly realm, demon realm, and mortal realm, separated by supreme laws to prevent interference. The Mother Elf explained a rift had formed when a foreign being entered the Salamander continent, causing chill to leak through and freeze Arcadia. Roman wondered if she meant Alexander, or even himself. She continued that weakening dimensional walls allowed Graxar to accept demon realm power, turning him into a demon. She warned this was just the beginning. The being who shattered the balance must be eliminated to prevent total collapse. The Mother Elf described the Demon King, a godlike entity currently bound by laws. Once fully descended, nothing could stop it. Roman realized why Kronos had abandoned pride for a truce with Dmitry. They anticipated the dimensional chaos. If Graxar was merely a subordinate, human forces alone couldn't prevail. Roman reflected that his own existence might serve as a counterbalance. In his previous world, he had been too powerful, unable to fully manifest heavenly realm arts. Demon realm foes could finally push him to his limits. When asked his stance, Roman said he made no promises, but would remove any obstacles in his path. The Mother Elf offered a gift, communion with the world tree for glimpses of past, present, and future. Though typically reserved for her alone, they made an exception for Arcadia's savior. Roman accepted, approaching the frozen, withered giant. Its skeletal branches loomed like a tombstone for the continent. Touching the bark triggered a golden aura, enveloping both him and the tree. Ice melted from its surface, steam rising as life returned, green buds emerging, bark smoothing. Teresa watched in awe. Roman's consciousness detached, becoming a weightless spirit of light. Roman found himself in Kronos' founding emperor's hidden chamber. Hooded figures knelt before Alexander, reporting unrest. Duke Vito and others, resentful of Valhalla's corruption, were rallying nobles. Civil war loomed if suppressed by force. Alexander smiled darkly, dismissing Roman Dmitry as insignificant. He ordered preparations. The moment Valhalla fell into chaos, their opportunity would arrive. Roman understood Alexander's silence. They waited like scavengers for the perfect strike. The scene shifted to Queen Isabel, severely wounded, slumped against a tree. A soldier urged her to flee to Luna, as Kronos had discovered their plans. She refused, citing her prophesied destiny. Having sent her followers to death, she couldn't abandon them. Rising despite her injuries, she ordered Knight Commander Leo to return to Luna. It was a queen's command. As she vanished into the darkness, Roman's consciousness returned. He connected the visions. Valhalla, demons, Alexander, Isabel, all pieces of encroaching darkness. Following Isabel would reveal the full truth. Elves knelt before Roman, pledging their race's loyalty. Flashback to the golden resonance. The Mother Elf recognized his power as flames of the fire demon, now bringing life. The world tree regenerated before their eyes. Their centuries-old wish fulfilled. Tears flowed as Teresa declared Roman the prophesied saviour, ordering all to follow him. Jero and Caden arrived from the forest edge. Jero bowed deeply, grateful for Luna's salvation, offering his service. Roman asked Caden about their contract terms. Caden confirmed Luna's loyalty to Dmitry in exchange for aid. Roman noted Dmitry had fulfilled its end by eliminating the orcs. Turning to the elves, he rejected uncompensated loyalty. The Mother Elf replied that the world tree's revival through his power was reward enough. Arcadia now had hope. Roman accepted. In return for their service, Dmitry would protect both elves and Luna. He stood as undisputed guardian of the continent, having seen its threats and secured its key allies.